Good day, boys and girls. Today we are going to read and discuss Act 3, Scene 3. In this scene, Antonio has been arrested but has been allowed out of prison with the jailer so that he can ask Sherlock one more time for mercy. Sherlock, however, will not listen to him. Antonio finally accepts that Sherlock is determined to have his pound of flesh and that the law of Venice will have to allow this to happen. Before he returns to jail, Antonio expresses the hope that he will see Bassanio before he dies. Let's begin our reading on page 115. A street in Venice. Sherlock, Salanio, Antonio, and the jailer enter. The setting is a street in Venice in front of the prison. Antonio has been arrested because the date on which the bond had to be repaid has already expired. Antonio and the jailer are taking a walk outside. He has persuaded this jailer to take him into the street so that he may find Sherlock to ask him to release him from the terms of the bond. Can you still remember the conditions of the bond? A loan of 3,000 ducats for 3 months, of which Antonio will stand surety. And if they cannot repay the loan, Sherlock will take a pound of Antonio's flesh. The time? The day before Antonio's trial. And although we know that Bassanio is on his way back from Belmont, he has not yet arrived in Venice. Sherlock, guard him well, jailer. Don't talk to me of mercy. This is the fool that lent out money free of interest. Jailer, watch him well. Remember at the end of Act 3, Scene 2, Sherlock asked Jewel to appoint a sheriff's officer for him. Jewel has done so, and now Antonio is in jail. But the jailer has allowed Antonio out of jail so that he can ask Sherlock for mercy. Sherlock criticizes the jailer for allowing Antonio out of prison. He is angry and threatening. Sherlock says, guard him well. Him refers to Antonio. Guard him well? Sherlock asks the jailer to make sure Antonio doesn't escape. This is the fool. Fool again refers to Antonio. That lent out money free of interest, without charging interest. Antonio lent out money to others for nothing. Because of this, Sherlock believes that Antonio has brought about his own downfall. Money is too important to Sherlock, and he will never be able to lend out money to others without charging interest. Antonio, but listen to me, good Sherlock. Antonio says, but listen to me, good Sherlock. Antonio tries to get Sherlock's attention. Note the good Sherlock. Antonio no longer refers to Sherlock as a dog. His attitude towards Sherlock has changed dramatically. He calls him good, and he begs him to listen to him. Sherlock, I'll have my bond. Don't speak against my bond. I've sworn an oath that I will have my bond. You called me dog before you had a cause. But since I am a dog, beware of my fangs. The Duke will grant me justice. I'm amazed, you wicked jailer, that you are so foolish to come outside with him at his request. Sherlock refuses to listen to Antonio and his intercessor's pleas. He says, I'll have my bond. His insistent reference to my bond is repeated 6 times throughout this scene. I've sworn an oath that I will have my bond. At the end of Act 3, Scene 2, Sherlock went with Tubal to the synagogue to swear an oath of revenge on Antonio. You called me dog before you had a cause. Antonio called Sherlock a dog even before he had a reason to do so. But since I'm a dog, beware my fangs. Fangs are sharp teeth. We usually refer to a carnivore's teeth as fangs. What does this suggest about Sherlock? Sherlock intends to bite. The Duke will grant me justice. The Duke is the most powerful ruler in Venice. Will grant me justice? Not even the Duke will be able to prevent me from carrying out the requirements of the bond to the letter. Justice will be served. I'm amazed. He is surprised that the jailer has let Antonio out of jail. You wicked jailer? Sherlock is very angry. He refers to the jailer as a worthless, good-for-nothing jailer. That you are so foolish, he can't believe he is so stupid and easily deceived by this Christian called Antonio. Antonio, please hear me speak. Antonio is on his knees begging Shylock to listen. Shylock, I'll have my bond. I will not hear you speak. I have my bond and therefore speak no more. I'll not be made a soft and stupid fool, to shake my head, relent and sigh and yield to mercy-pleading Christians. Don't follow me. I'll have no speaking. I will have my bond. He goes. I'll have my bond. He repeats what he wants. I will not hear you speak. I will not listen to you. I'll not be made a soft and stupid fool. Shylock is no longer the cowering, persecuted Jew that we first met, but he is filled with a new sense of power. To shake my head, relent. Relent means to give in. And sigh and yield. Yield also means to give way to arguments, demands, or pressure. Solonio, it is the most impenetrable cur that ever lived among men. Solonio refers to Shylock by saying it. We use it to refer to a thing, not to a human being. Solonio is saying Shylock is not human. The most impenetrable, his heart doesn't soften up with mercy. He is hard-hearted. Cur, a mongrel dog, a street dog. That ever lived among men, Shylock is the worst of them all. Antonio, leave him alone. I'll follow him no more with hopeless prayers. He seeks my life. I know exactly why. I've often freed his debtors from the jailer where he had put them, paying their debts myself. That's why he hates me. Antonio has a hopeless tone of voice. He says, I'll follow him no more with hopeless prayers. Antonio finally realizes that Shylock wants him dead, and no matter how hard he tries, Shylock will not listen to any reasoning. He seeks my life. He wants me dead. I know exactly why. I know exactly why he is doing this to me, why he hates me so much. I've often freed his debtors from the jail where he had put them, paying their debts myself. That's why he hates me. Antonio has often helped people who owed money to Shylock. This means that Shylock has often lost both the interest and the penalties for non-payment of the debts which these people owed him. Solonio, I'm sure the Duke will never rule this penalty should stand. Solonio is saying, I'm sure the Duke will never allow Shylock to go ahead with his demand for the penalty in the bond. Solonio is hopeful that the Duke will not allow Shylock to cut out a pound of Antonio's flesh. Antonio, the Duke cannot deny the course of law. In Venice, foreigners enjoy the right to fair and equal treatment under law. Were this denied them, it would undermine the justice of the state, and foreign trade, on which the state's prosperity depends, would suffer greatly. Therefore go. All these anxieties and losses have so worn me down. I'll hardly have a pound of flesh to spare tomorrow for my murderous creditor. Well, jailer, on. I pray to God Bassanio will come to see me pay his debt, and then I do not care. They go out. Antonio says that if the Duke does not enforce the law, foreign traders on whom Venice depend for her wealth would lose faith in the city's system of justice. This would damage Venice's economy, as traders depend on the law to protect them and their financial interest. Let's explain it this way. If the law clearly states, in the country far, far away, that everyone needs to wear a hat, and the Minister of Social Entertainment decides that it will not suit him, and therefore he is not going to wear a hat, and he is not persecuted, the next time somebody does not wear a hat, they will say, but the Minister of Social Entertainment is allowed to walk around without his hat. Therefore, so can I. Now, even though we have a law, the law becomes meaningless, because if you allow one person to break the law, you need to allow everyone to break the law. In the same way, the Venetian courts will have no choice but to carry out the provisions of the bond to the letter, since Venice has profitable trade relations with foreigners, including Jews, and the state cannot afford its reputation for fairness and justice to be discredited. Antonio refers to his anxieties and losses. The word losses refers to the loss of his ships, in other words his wealth, and the weight he lost, have so worn me down. Antonio has declined physically, referring to the weight that he has lost, but he has also declined spiritually because he has lost all hope. Tomorrow indicates to us that the trial takes place tomorrow. For my murderous creditor refers to Shylock, who is only interested in Antonio's death, not his money. While jailer on, I pray to God Bassanio will come to see me pay his debt. He only wants to see Bassanio one last time before he dies. He does not blame Bassanio for his own misfortune. In Antonio's letter to Bassanio, he clearly states that Bassanio is only to come to Venice if he does not interfere with his courtship of Portia. In this, Antonio's love for Bassanio is again proved. This is also a form of dramatic irony. Antonio expresses his wish to see Bassanio once more before he dies, but the audience knows that Bassanio is on his way. And then I do not care. After that, he doesn't care what happens to him. This brings us to the end of Act 3, Scene 3. I conclude with the words of Winston Churchill. This is not the end. It is not even the beginning of the end, but it is, perhaps, the end of the beginning.